Alright, so this piece right here, I'm just going to show an overview of how I made this custom. And so I've got the wing assembly and tail assembly off. And this is before paint. Getting ready to paint it, prime it, and put the base coat and all that on in a little bit. But it's 7 inches tall, exactly 7 inches to the top of this little head spike. And the way I made it, I used the base figure is this Voyager class slog, and you can see a lot of the pieces have been changed from it. He's a little bit taller than the slog, but you can see the feet. I used his feet, and then these knee pieces I flipped upside down. You know, you have to cut them off and flip them upside down, and then I trimmed off some of the knees. I used the forearms and the upper arm. You know, I just took this off, and then one of these little spikes here I cut off and shaped to use for these pieces. But look around the back, you can see how I got the arms on there. So I had to cut these arm pieces off of him, and then I think I rotated them, you know, to make them fit this way. And then the way I've got it attached is with some strong epoxy on the inside. Another thing I had to do was, you know, cut holes in this to attach the front pieces, and so I had to, you know, cut through here and make that fit, and to make these spin and articulate. So what else from slog? You can see right here where I had to cut his waist. This waist piece off is all I used, and so after I did that, you can see that right here is attached, and that has the chest plate on it, and the chest plate is from this ConstructBot Strafe, and this is just a piece from the package. You can see that if it focuses, it's from this ConstructBot. So I use the front plate, and then the wing assembly is attached to the back plate, and then of course I use the head. And so for the head, you know, I had to do some sculpting. You can see sculpt the back to put it on this new ball joint, and you know, I did some shaping around the rest of his head on the spike. And then, as you can see, I had to fill in the holes on this ConstructBot and sculpt inside the holes. And then also from it, I used the dyno head from this ConstructBot, and I split it in half. And then that's what these pieces are. And then to get it to lay on there right, I had to cut it here and then sculpt it on to make it look right. And then these are all sculpted, and then I detached the top piece. You can see this piece right here put up here, and you know, sculpted all that to look screen accurate, and do the sculpting in here to get the chest piece to lay right and all that. And again, you can see the way I joined it. Of course, these are the thighs and hips from Slog 2, and I sculpted these thighs. And what I use for the sculpt is just some epoxy. So I'd use this plastic weld because it sticks to plastic pretty good. It can be, when it hardens, it can be soft sometimes. So I also like to use like a harder putty. This is kind of similar to like Milliput. They're the same brand, JB Weld, and they work pretty good. I can link these in the description. And also, what I use for the hands and the tails, and where you see, most time where you see this white is where I sculpted and joined pieces. And so the tails and the hands are from this Ultron. It's like an Ultron figure called Playmation. You know, you hook it up to games, and it's just a 6-inch Ultron. So I used the hands from that, and these were attached to his back, and I took those off, and those are the tails that you see on Strafe. And then I used the deluxe Strafe. You can see for the wings. I formed them. I set them how I wanted it, and then I did like a resin copy. And then also I used these heads, and I copied those too, and then did some trimming on that. And you can see where it's different, where I try to kind of make it more screen accurate, like this is shorter and shaped more, and then pieces of the fins are cut off and all that. And then what else I use from him is I use these leg pieces, and of course I had to make them bigger. So it's like this piece right here, just that section is from the deluxe, and the rest of this is sculpted. I had to sculpt this around, and the way I use Slog's legs, I took the other pieces off. This is just the inside leg piece, and I just sculpted it to make that flow into it, and it worked out pretty good. And so there it is. Just a quick overview of how I actually customize this. I know my last one was the Grimlock, and I meant to do this too to help people out, but I actually just forgot. So I'll try to do more of actually showing how I did this behind the scenes. And I just attached this to a little simple ball joint that I had, and that's pretty much it. Alright, getting ready for paint. I got this metallic charcoal base coat over top of the primer, and now I'm getting ready to brush on the details, and just going to use some metallic acrylics. And some of the colors I'm going to use is like a gold, copper, and blue. Detail it with silver, and then like a light blue for the eyes. And then I'm just going to use like a little brush. Got some brushes right there for the detailing. And now I'm not going to film this, but I will show it once it's all painted. And then after I paint it, I'm going to put a matte clear coat over top of it. Alright. And as a painting guide, I found a CGI image of Strafe online. You can see it back there, kinda. But that's what I'm going to use as my guide. So I'll be back. Alright. Here with the finished product. It's all painted up. The wing and tail assembly that comes off. Alright, thanks for watching. Subscribe. And I will have more stuff coming up. Thanks.